All right, hello. My name is Devin Rowland, and I'm working together with Bryce Conway on informing you about brass instrument sound modeling. Now, Bryce just got done giving his presentation on how a brass instrument makes sound, and also what are some quantities that you can model when doing brass instrument sound modeling. Now, my job is to inform you about where inaccuracies in this modeling can come from and why they might be there. So, these inaccuracies come from assumptions that are made to simplify the math behind the modeling, because the math, as you just saw, gets very complex, and these assumptions can make your job a lot easier, but they do introduce error. Now, this error is, definitely makes your results deviate from the truth, but there's a redeemable quality because the deviation is not that much to where we can't use this information. There is still some, usable, interesting insight we gain from this modeling, so it's still worth doing. All right, so I've picked out 4 different assumptions for this type of modeling where error will come into play. 1 is linear waves. Number 2 is a 1 degree of freedom lip model. 3 is nature of error assumptions. And 4 is a smooth cross-sectional area as the trumpet or brass instrument pipes grow or decline in cross-sectional area. All right, so starting with linear waves. Brass instruments don't actually have linear sound waves. They have non-linear sound waves. But linear waves are much, much easier to calculate. And so therefore, to reduce the computational expense when doing this type of work, a lot of people will assume linear waves to make their life a little easier. But as you can see in this graph here, nonlinear and linear waves do deviate from each other quite a bit, especially towards the left of this graph. All right, a 1 degree of freedom lip model. So a 1 degree of freedom lip model is just a 1 degree of freedom mass spring system. And it fits actually many applications except for near threshold conditions where you do need a 2 degree of freedom lip model to better fit that need for that input to the trumpet or trombone, tuba, whatever that instrument may be. But a 1 degree of freedom model is easier to calculate, so many times it is used. All right, nature of air assumptions. So what I mean by this is the air that's contained within the musician's mouth. So let me move this little video. The math, like I said, gets very complex. So if you can assume air to be stationary, inviscid, laminar, and incompressible, you can use Bernoulli's equation and conservation of mass equation. And so here is Mr. Daniel Bernoulli. And anyways, Bernoulli's equation and conservation of mass both help to simplify your calculations a lot. So a lot of times that assumption is made. And finally, smooth cross-sectional area. This has to do with as you are going axially along your brass instrument's pipes, if there's a cross-sectional area change of that pipe, you assume it to be smooth. Now what this allows you to do is to assume your sound wave fields to be simple waves, which is, I like to imagine it like this 2D wave right here. It doesn't really interact with anything else. It just kind of does its own thing. But whereas a wave field is like a turbulent ocean where the waves are crashing and mixing and there's chaos there. Now, we know that simple waves actually turn out to not be a good assumption for this sort of thing. You need to look at wave fields. And if you use a Webster or Webster-Lockson equation, that would be a better model for that. All right, so in conclusion, trumpets are complex and use tubes, valves, and slides to produce the music we all know and love. That sound can be numerically modeled, but it is very difficult, it's very complex, so we make assumptions to simplify that process, but that introduces error into our results, which makes them deviate from the truth. But even though that deviation is there, it's still worth doing because it's still fairly close to the truth and provides interesting information. So, with that being said, thank you very much. Here are my references, and have a nice day.